Hello guys and girls, Screezilla here and I hope you're all well. And the French are getting a new premium tank. Huzzah! Oh god, what could it be? It could be something really interesting. God, you know, there's so many cool tank designs around that era that just didn't come out. There are some really interesting... Wait. What? AMX for... Wait, what? We're getting an AMX 30 as a premium tank. Oh good lord. So, yeah, the French premium tank, the top tier premium tank for the French, is an AMX 30 1972. Might sound familiar because we actually have one in game. This was the the first prototype, I believe, of it. It's identical in every single way to the tank that you get in the research tree, other than one small unique factor, which is the secondary gun. Talk about that in a moment. But you do get some cool unique items, such as this decal. You also get a free camouflage, and you get fire breathing as a title. Neat. Everything else on this tank is the same. So let's just hop to the game, and the only difference is this section here. Instead of getting this lovely 20mm cannon, you get a 50 cal. Yep, that's it. That's the only difference between this and the premium version, is you get a 50 cal. Everything else is the same. Same engine, same armour, same gun, same ammunition. And that's probably where the problem lies. The ammunition. This tank gets a very good shell. It gets the Obus G, which is a fantastic shell. It's a really, really good shell, believe me. Back when it was made, it was considered to be one of the most advanced shells of its time, as well as being the best shell at the time. Now, the actual shell itself is a heat shell, much like you would see in, any time period from World War II onwards. Heat was a common thing. It's a shape charge shell. So you have this copper at the back, the explosive at the front. This melts it and basically melts through the tank, burns through the armour and makes a big hole in there, and then splatters molten metal around the inside of the tank, making the crew go, oh crap, we've got to get out of here. Also causing fires inside the tank. That was a common thing for it. This thing would cause a lot of fire, hence I guess the term fire breather, because this thing would set tanks on fire inside. Because of the heat of the metal inside, any material it touched, anything it touched inside the tank that wasn't metal basically would just catch on fire, and even metal was on fire at this time. The unique thing about this shell though is actually its makeup. So what happens is this outer casing spins while this inner casing stays perfectly still. It's actually weighted to stay still. The front detonator also stays still. So this rotation effects, rifling rotation effect, keeps the shell on target and gave this thing an amazing accuracy. This shell was super accurate. It was more accurate than fin stabilized. Because fin stabilized could be affected a lot by wind, things like that, because of the fins. This didn't have that problem. Because it was relying on rifling, it was much more reliable. It also had a really, really good detonator on it, so when it touched, it generally went off. Basically, it would this section here was not touching, and the reason it's not touching, as soon as this touches, it creates the electrical charge, which then ignites the fuse. So basically, whatever it touches, it goes off, basically. So that's why it really worked well on angled armor. It didn't ricochet much, because as soon as this touched, it would go off. So even on a high, like a very low slope angle armor, so imagine my mouse cursor here is the angle of the armor. What would happen is normally the shell would go in and then ricochet off, but because of the electric fuse on there, this piezo disc on the front, the electric fuse, it would crush, send the electric charge through, and then automatically ignite everything, and everything would go off, even on a very sloped bit of armour. So it was incredibly, incredibly effective. It also had a ridiculous penetration value as well. 360mm of penetration with ease. It also could go through 700mm of concrete up to a kilometre away with ease. The great thing about heat, of course, is it doesn't really have a range that it loses penetration value because it is a shape charge. So yeah, all in all, it's a really good shell. Unfortunately, in game, the shell doesn't act like it should. It works more like a standard heat shell, and that's where the problems come in. So hopefully, with this being a premium tank, maybe they will be fixing the Obus G heat shell, which will be nice because it will make the AMX 30 a much more deadly opponent. Because what happens at the moment is you will penetrate a vehicle and then nothing will happen post-penetration. Often, you will just injure a crew member. You might get some good kills, but generally you just injure crew members with it. The tank is a good tank overall, but premium, not worth it. There are so many better options in the French tank line. The AMX 13 S11, the 80 GMs on that really make it worthwhile. The thing is, though, it's 6.7 BR, but still, it's a good gun. The actual gun on this thing is very, very nice. The what am I looking for? The PCOT 51P is a relatively good penetration shell, and it has very good post-penetration effects as well. So that's a better option. For grinding, the M4A1 FL10 is king. Honestly, you will grind out pretty much all of the French tanks with this thing, because you can just pair it up with the SA50 and, of course, the Jumbo. And it's just, the lineup is just unbeatable. It causes a lot of issues at 4.7 because this lineup is just king. Also, you get the AMX 13 DCA-40 anti-aircraft gun, which has the 40mm Bofors MLE 51. But this thing is just absolutely deadly. So yeah, all in all, is it going to be worth buying? No, absolutely not. If you really, really want to collect all the AMX 30s, then I guess so. But losing out on that 20mm cannon is a huge loss because that thing is really, really useful. With a 50 cal, what you've got? Let's just have a look quickly on the 50 cal. You've got 26mm of penetration up close. With the 20mm cannon, you've got almost 45mm of penetration across the board. You've got 40mm of penetration at 500 meters, and also this is a much better. This is a very fast firing 20mm autocannon. It's very, very good. I actually find this secondary gun to be one of the most useful things because you just can obliterate light tanks with it. But yeah, basically this tank with a 50 cal, not worth it. Okay guys, I will catch you next time. This is Screezilla out. Bye bye.